So let's throw a negative in there. Got to discourage you somehow. So let's go ahead and throw a negative. Negative 2x squared plus 7x minus 15 is equal to 0. So now we're talking about a 6 or a 7 because you got a negative there now. That negative 2 has got to come out because we cannot do completing the square with a negative 2 out front of the x squared. Can't do it. So we got to factor out. Let's move the 15 over. All right. Now we got to divide by, we got to factor out this 2. Now give me x squared minus 7/2 x plus blank is equal to 15 plus negative 2 times blank. And whatever we factor out, we have to multiply by this right side blank. Now we're ready to complete the square. And I'm going to do it step by step because some students, guys, don't do it step by step because they already know how to do it and they can skip all the steps even though they don't know how to do it. So if you do it step by step, it doesn't cause a problem, guys. All right? I just got signed in. Okay, Miss Antley, you're here. Everything good? Let me see if she's here. No, she's not. Yeah, there she is. She's here. Okay. He's here. Sorry. I have another Antley in another one of my classes. All right. So I'm going to go right here. I'm going to do it in red because I like to do complete the square in red because this is where you do it. So 7/2 divided by 2/1 and square it. 7/2 multiplied by 1/2 and square it. 7/4 squared is 49/16. And I'm sorry, all of you should be able to do what I just did. But the problem is, guys, you don't want to do it in 4 steps. You want to do it in 1 step. And that's why you screw it up. So 49/16. 49/16. And that gives us my green marker. That gives us shortcut number 2, which it's supposed to do either number 1 or number 2, and it's number 2 based on that subtraction symbol. Shortcut number 2. So that's going to give us, and I'll do it in green, x minus 7/4 quantity squared with a negative 2 out front is equal to, and I'm going to take my blue marker and I'm going to do some simplifying over here. So where's my blue marker? I want to use a blue that you can see. And here is a light blue. So this 2, since that's 2/1, that'll cancel. That 2 will cancel with that. So I got 49/8. So I need to change, that's a negative. I need to change this to 8s. So 120. Somebody check my math. What's 120 divided by 8? Check me, please.
It's 15.
Okay, so 120 minus 50 is what? 70, so that's going to be, oh gosh, 71. Somebody check my math. 71/8. What's 120 minus 49? Should be 71.
You're
It
right.
is.
The reason you have to check me on subtraction, I suck at it. All right, so now I've got here. So I'm gonna go over here, and since the homework and the test are going to ask for intercept form, I'm going to just go over here and write f of x is equal to -2. I'm going to write this right here. I'm trying to get it all on one page, y'all. Just hold on. F of x is equal to -2 times x minus 7/4 quantity squared minus 71 over 8. And they may ask you for the vertex, and that would be a horizontal shift of 7/4 to the right and -71 on the vertical shift. So there's your vertex. Now this, they may ask you in the homework and the test to put it in that form. It's called intercept form. I just usually just ask for the vertex. So you can just do the vertex, the opposite of this guy, the opposite of this guy. So that's 7/4 and -71 over 8. That's your vertex. Now we got to solve this for x. So I'm going to divide by -2. And when I divide by -2, somebody tell me what that does. When
Multiply by -1/2.
Yeah. Multiply by -1/2. What does that do? What does that do over here? Gives me a what? Gives me a negative, Hubert. Why? Why is that important? Can't take the square root of a what? Can't take the square root of a negative, Hubert. So that means we have no x-intercepts. X minus 7/4 quantity squared is equal to, and that's going to be -71 over 16. I just did that right there. Now we got to solve it. And at this point, I know we don't have any x-intercepts. I'm going to put right here, no x-intercepts, because you can't take the square root of a what? Negative. So that tells us that this graph does not have any x-intercepts. And you think that mentally, or you write it over to the side, because they're going to ask you for the answer in terms of I. Okay, so they're going to ask you to keep going. So x minus 7/4 is equal to the square root of -71 over 4. And x is equal to 7 plus or minus the square root, I times the square root of 71 over 2. And that should be a 2 right there. Okay? No, it's a 4 over 4. Sorry. All right? So that's your answer. This is exact, and it's in terms of I, in which they will want it. Now, I shouldn't have to tell you where the I comes from, but just as a, courtesy, the square root of -1 is equal to I, and I squared is equal to -1. That's where I got the I from. This is the square root of -1 times the square root of 71. The square root of -1 is I, and then you bring down the square root of 71. And that should be a review for most of y'all. Okay, Miss Miller's about to die. Please don't die on us, but I'll try to remember you when I call the roll. Miss Miller's about to die, y'all. So be with Miss Miller. All right, next, let's draw this thing. We know that the vertex is 7/4, which is 1 3/4. And negative 71. Well, hell, 8 times 9 is 72. So I'm going to say it's negative 70, negative 9. So that's going to be down here. Negative 9. It's going to be somewhere down here. The y-intercept is negative 15. So the y-intercept is, so we can pretty much say that this is your graph. And the domain is all real numbers. The range is from negative infinity to our negative 71 over 8. It's increasing from negative infinity to negative 7/4. And it's decreasing from 7/4 to infinity. It's decreasing. And the line of symmetry is x is equal to negative 7/4. Positive 7/4, sorry. And if you can do all of that, you can do 1.1 through, or 3.1 through pretty much 3.3 and some of 3.5. And, well, heck, I'm just doing all of it. 4.1. Yeah, 4.1. So there's that, and there's that. So let's do, that's a level 6 or a 7. Let's move on up to a level 8. And this will make some of y'all really cringe because y'all will probably quit. 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus, no, let's make it a negative, so we'll have, hopefully have x-intercepts, minus 10 is equal to 0. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to figure it out. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do it. And if you can't do it in 5 minutes, that means you're a failure, and we're going to make fun of you. All right, so clock and 5 minutes. Do as much as you can in 5 minutes. So that means everybody should be writing. Nobody should be looking around the ceiling fans and doing all that.
You have a work email.
Oh, Lord, somebody's bitching about something. What I done now? Hubert said something in class that offended me. I got one question. How can a generation raised on South Park be offended so easily?
I never watched South Park.
I never have either.
Yeah.
Some of these people just can't take a joke.
That's it. They have no sense of humor. My favorite cartoon shows, King of the Hill, they gonna tell you what, and Archer.
Watching it last night. That's funny.
Oh my God, Archer is hilarious. And I love to watch King of the Hill. If it wasn't for Boomhauer, I wouldn't even watch it.
That's a fact.
But Archer is hilarious. Oh my God. I watch reruns of Archer over and over and over. Some of y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. Any Archer fans?
I've never seen it.
Huh?
I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh. It started at 12th season. You need to watch it. It's hilarious. But you got to start it out from the get-go, from season 1. It's on Hulu. So I love it. My favorite is Cheryl because she's crazy. That's my favorite. But you got to watch it to understand what I'm talking about. And since y'all are the animation generation, I figured you might want to watch it. Miss Miller, I have to ask this. You look like you're in a school. Are you in a school? She can't talk. I'm sorry. Say it one more time. Yeah, we can't hear you. I'm sorry. Your microphone must not be working. But it looks like a biology class. That's all right. You don't have to respond. I better shut up. Y'all trying to work. And you got to love, what's his name? Oh, gosh. God, the stupid dad. Can't think of the name of the show. Stewie and
Can
Family
Family Guy come
Family
in?
Guy. Thank you. I couldn't think of it.
God, I grew up on dang
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
God, Family Guy is hilarious.
God.
You should watch F is for Family. That's a funny show.
F is for Family?
Yeah, it's kind of like not American Dad, King of the Hill a little bit, I'd say.
I have to watch
It's
that.
like in the 80s.
I didn't like American Dad. I liked the dad. I just didn't like that alien. He kind of creeped me out. So American Dad could have been a whole lot better if they'd left what the hell is the alien there for? That makes no sense. Can't believe nobody's seen Archer though. Oh, don't watch Archer with your, like if you have like a 5-year-old brother or something, don't watch it. It's strictly adults. So, all right. Yeah, I don't even let my 14-year-old watch Archer. It can get pretty raunchy. All right. So let's move 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus blank is equal to 10 plus blank. We're going to factor out a 1/2. Minus, well, wait a minute. 2 divided by 1/2 is the same thing as 2 multiplied by 2, which is what? 4x. And as always, I take my highlighter and we factored out a 1/2 here. So we've got to multiply it by that right side blank. Oh my gosh, we factored out a 1/2 and it actually made the problem easier. 4 divided by 2, we'll do that in red. And now this gives us shortcut number 2. Shortcut number 2 based on that sign. So that's going to give us 1/2 times x minus 2 quantity squared equals, and I'm going to put it equals in black. And this is not a big deal because what's half of 4, people? Half of 4 is 2, so 10 plus 2 is 12. So if I wanted to write this the way that they want us to write it, it would be f of x is equal to 1/2 times x minus 2 quantity squared minus 12 with a vertex of 2 comma negative 12. And that'll be the way they ask you to write it in the answer. Vertex down here, just take the opposite of both. In this form, take the opposite of both, that'd be 2 comma negative 12. And now we're going to solve it. So divide by 1/2. Divide by 1/2, which means multiply by 2 over 1. So x minus 2 quantity squared is equal to 24. Now let me ask y'all something. If the square root is 25 is 5, what do you think the square root of 24 is? Four point what?
1.
Okay, let me rephrase it. If the square root of 25 is 5, what is the square root of 24? You got the 4 right.
Is it 4.5?
Well, it'd be 4.9
Okay.
because it's right there on the edge. 4.9. Come on, y'all. I'm going to draw this at the top. X minus 2 quantity squared is equal to 24. And I'm going to take the square root. When you see the square root of 24, this is what you should be thinking. I'm going to show you, since we're sketching, we're not getting the exact answer. This is what your brain, the critical thinking part of your brain, should be doing. 25 is 5. 16 is 4. 16 to 25 is 9. Half of 9 is 4. Square root of 20.5 is 4.5. So therefore, the square root of 25 is 4 point what? 4.9. So I'm going to do 2 ways. I'm going to do exact, and I'm going to do approximate. And y'all better be thankful. I had 2 students, 2 109 students call me yesterday. They weren't even my students. They're wanting to look at my videos on YouTube. They're in another 109 class. And I had a 130 student call me wanting to look at my videos from another 130 class. So y'all should be grateful to have those videos that 2 of you watch. All right, so exact. X minus 2 is equal to the square root of 24. X is equal to 2 plus or minus 2 square root of what? 6. 4 times 6 is 24, right? Somebody give me a thumbs up. 4 times 6 is 24. Okay. So that's the exact answer. I really don't care about it, but the homework and the test, they probably want it like this. but I want you to be able to, I want you to critical think this. So I want you to sketch it. So I want you to tell me the approximate. So x minus 2 is equal to 4.9. That's positive or negative. X is equal to positive or negative 4.9 plus 2. And y'all know money, girls. And don't say you don't. You know you get shortchanged as soon as you walk off from the cash register. So don't say you don't. You know money just like milliseconds. 4.9, $4.90 plus $2 is $6.90. So that is one x-intercept. The other x-intercept, you owe $4.90. You give them $2, you still owe them $2.90. And there is everything you need. And we got a y-intercept of -10. So let's see what this thing gives us. Somebody tell me what the 1/2 tells us. Remember, A is between 0 and 1. That makes it wider. So we're going to have a wide parabola. So let's go to the graph. And we got a y-intercept of -10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we've got a x-intercept of 6.9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And a -2.9. 1, 2, 3. And a vertex of 2 and -12. That's 10, 11, 12. So you can see it is a little bit wider than a regular parabola. My domain is all real numbers. My range is from -12 to infinity. My decreasing is from -infinity to, what is the line of symmetry, 2? And then increasing from 2 to infinity. And that's everything you need to be able to do. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you can do this problem all the way through, you can handle any problem I give you on the test, because I'm going to give you a number 10 now. And the only difference in the number 10 is they're all fractions. And if you can handle this one and the next one that I'm fixing to do, then you're good to go. As far as 3.1 through 3.3, and then maybe a little bit of 4.1, 3.5 and 4.1, you should be good to go. Any questions? Y'all don't ask many questions. Miss Cruz is on the move again. What is Miss Cruz doing now?
I have a question.
Yes.
You haven't loaded in the 3-point assignments, have you?
I'm sorry, what?
I said you haven't loaded in the 3-point assignments yet.
No, I haven't loaded anything yet, I don't think, because after today I will.
Okay, thank you.
Because we're reaching the last completing the square right here. So let me see what else. Somebody else is either, is that Mr. Cavan saying that he's getting, Mr. Cavan, you keep getting kicked out. Mr. Cavan, you were still with us, all right? All right. Yeah, he's still, I don't think you can hear me, but he's with us. So yeah, if you keep getting kicked out, it's not Teams that's kicking you out, it's your internet. So here is the level 10. Here we go. This is the one. If you can do this one, you can pretty much handle anything I give you. So let's go with -1/2 x squared.
You have a work email.
plus 3 halves x, and I'll give you a simple -7 is equal to 0. All right, give you 5 minutes.
Were you saying something to me? My internet's like being really weird.
Yeah, I think now I'm gonna give you a suggestion, Mr. Cavan. Before class, reboot your computer. Also, reboot if you're at home. Reboot your router.
Okay, well, this is the first time it's happened, so.
When you reboot your router, it clears the RAM memory on your router also. And when you get in and out, when you get stuff breaking up, it's usually the RAM memory is full.
Okay, all right.
Try that next time.
Okay, I'll do that.
I reboot my computer and my router before each class.
Okay.
That's why sometimes I write y'all a message and say we're starting a little bit late.
Yeah.
Because I'm having to reboot my computer and my router.
All right. Yes, sir. Sounds good.
So and those of you that have a router, I don't know if you have a work router or a school router or whatever, if you have a home router, you can reboot it with no problem. So it helps to do that. All right, I'm gonna let y'all, let's see, it's 10:19. Y'all already had a minute. So I'm gonna wait till 10:23. Yeah, I see what you mean, Mr. Cavan. You're freezing up and moving, so I think you ought to reboot your router, and I think that will take care of it.
Do you want me to do that right now? I mean,
No. I was
I was
just
about to
telling
say,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, before your next virtual class, whether it's
Uh-huh.
this one or another one, that would. Do you have AT&T or you have what? Who's your carrier with your router?
I think we have AT&T here. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, just I unplugged the back of mine.
Uh-huh.
I unplug it for at least
30
2 or 3
seconds.
minutes,
Right.
and then plug it back in.
Oh, there it goes again.
All right, so that's 1023. So I'm going to move C, negative 1/2 x squared plus 3/2 x plus blank is equal to 7 plus blank. Now watch what I do here, because I've got to do this step by step because these are fractions and y'all suck at fractions, so I'm going to do it step by step. What do you do when you divide? I just told you. What do you do when you factor? You divide, right? So I'm going to just write 1/2, negative 1/2, divided by negative 1/2. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say 3/2 divided by negative 1/2. Now, you know, of course, this cancels, so the negative 1/2 comes out. And that leaves positive x squared because this is 1. All right, this right here, I've got to multiply by negative 2 over 1. The 2's cancel, and I get negative 3. Negative 1/2 times blank. All right, everybody should have got negative 3 right here. So I'm going to take my handy dandy, whatever I factored out. I've got to multiply by that side blank. Now I've got a 3. I've got to divide it by 2 and square it. 9/4. And that goes here and here. And that's going to give me shortcut number 2 right here. Now, if anybody wonders why I keep doing the same thing over and over, I keep trying to show you that it's a what? It's a method. It's a method. You do this method each time. And what have y'all started to see after you've done about 8 or 10 of these problems? What are you starting to see? They're not that what? They're not that difficult. Negative 1/2 x minus 3/2 squared. Let me do some simplifying over here. Let me get my blue pen. And let's see, this right here is going to be negative 9/8. So this one is going to be 56/8. And I'm just reminded 6 times 8 is 48. So 7 times 8 is 56. I always have to remind myself. All right, so 56 minus 9 is what? 47? Somebody check my math, please. And that is your vertex. I'm going to write it in their form just one more time. After this one, I'm not going to do it no more. F of x is equal to negative 1/2 x minus 3/2 quantity squared minus 47/8. And the vertex is opposite of this. That's your horizontal shift. And bring this down, negative 47/8. There's your vertex. You've got a parabola that's opening downward, and it's going to be very wide because it's 1/2. So your vertex down here is the opposite and opposite. So that's going to be 3/2, comma, negative 47/8. And we're going to go to the next page and solve it. And of course, you can see that we're not going to have x-intercepts. negative 1/2 x minus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to 47/8. And I'm going to divide by negative 1/2, divide by negative 1/2, x minus 3/2 quantity squared is equal to, multiply by negative 2 over 1. That cancels to a 4. Negative 47/4. And take the square root of both sides. And at this point, we're going to have an exact answer with I. And the reason I'm putting I right there is because we don't have x-intercepts. The actual approximate is no x-intercepts, because you can't get a decimal out of something that's not there. So I'm going to solve it. And that's going to be x minus 3/2 is equal to the square root of negative 47 over 2. And x is equal to 3 plus or minus I times the square root of 47 over 2. And that's what the homework and the test will want. And I'm going to draw it because I want you to be able to draw it. So we know we don't have x-intercepts. So we're going to have to use everything else that we have. We've got a y-intercept of negative 7. And we've got a vertex of 1.5. And 8 will go into 47. What? 8 times 6 is 48. So negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's a wide parabola and it's opening downward. So domain is all real numbers. Range is from negative infinity. Range is negative infinity to, what is this y right here? Negative 47/8. Increasing from negative infinity to line of symmetry is 1.5. X is equal to 3/2 to 3/2.
You have a work
And decreasing from 3/2 to infinity. And if you can do this problem, you can do any problem I give you. Again, you can make these things up all day. You can go here, go to your handy dandy calculator. Let me turn the stat plot off. And go to y is equal. And I'm going to type in negative 1/2 x squared, negative, parentheses, 1 divided by 2, close parentheses, x squared, plus 3/2 x. I always put my fractions in parentheses. Minus 7. And graph. And do a zoom fit. Well, hit the wrong button, Hubert. And let's do a zoom out. And put the middle of the cursor right around here. And there it is. And watch your, and you can do a trace right here and see all your values. That's pretty much the vertex right there. And go over to the left-hand side. So as x comes from negative infinity, what is y doing? Somebody tell me what y is doing. Increasing. And from the vertex, the x of the vertex, to positive infinity, what is y doing? Decreasing. Thank you, class. Appreciate the interaction. How does everybody feel on completing the square? Everybody feel good? Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Y'all ever been in a relationship where the other person never talks? Anybody ever been in a relationship like that? Raise your hand. If anybody been in a relationship where the other person never talks? Well, welcome to this relationship, because y'all don't talk. Y'all suck. All right? See how this relationship just takes long. It just takes so long for this class to end because nobody talks. Y'all suck. All right. What about this? What if I give you something like this? F of x is equal to x squared minus 4. Could you solve this by completing the square? Yes, because completing the square is never what? Restricted. But is that the easiest way to solve this? That means I want somebody to say yes or no. Is that the easiest way to solve this by completing the square? I might as well just go fix me something to eat.
No.
No, it's not. What can you do besides completing the square? Well, I got to know out of somebody. That's about all I'm going to get. What else can I do?
Solve the equation.
Solve using roots. Meaning I'm going to bring that 4. This is 0. I'm going to find my x-intercept, plug in 0 for y. Bring that 4 across the river. Take the square root of both sides. And there is your x-intercepts. Now notice you don't have what? You don't have the vertex. So I'm going to do complete the square right quick. So x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. X squared plus 0x plus blank is equal to 0. There's a reason I'm doing this, okay? I don't need somebody. I got 3 degrees and I got running water and most of my teeth, okay? So I don't need anybody to tell me that I don't need to do this. I'm doing it for a reason. What's half of 0? 0, Hubert. And 0 squared is 0. This is shortcut number what? Number 2, x plus 0, quantity squared, is equal to, that's supposed to be a 4, sorry, is equal to 4. So what is our, somebody tell me what our y, our x, or what our vertex is? Well, -0, which doesn't exist, is 0, and -4. That's our vertex. And now, solve it. You get x is equal to positive or -2. So there is your vertex. Now, you could also say, well, Hubert, there's your y-intercept right there. The y-intercept in this case is the vertex. So you take your handy-dandy sketch, 1, 2, 1, 2, and -4. There's your intercept. So you can solve it by doing roots, or you can solve it by completing the square, either way. Now, of course, you may be given this problem. You may be given this problem in 3.1 through 3.3. F of x is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 4. And you may recognize, well, Hubert, that's shortcut number 2. Then that's going to be x plus 2 quantity squared is equal to 0, because I put a 0 here. And then you'll say, okay, the square root, x plus 2 is equal to positive or -0, which is 0. So x is equal to 2. And that would be a positive or -2. And the y-intercept is 4. But you still don't have the vertex. Does everybody see what I'm trying to get to here? If you don't know the vertex, you don't know what's going on. So x squared plus 4x plus blank is equal to -4 plus blank. And that's going to be 4 divided by 2 is 2 squared is 4. And you see that it's going to be x plus 2 quantity squared is equal to 0. And the vertex is -2, 0. There's your vertex. So it's always handy to have completing the square in your back pocket to find the vertex. Now, what I've just covered is 3.1 through 3.3 and a little bit of I'm not going to do 3.5 yet, but 4.1. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at your homework. And I'm in Math 111, sorry. And Math 109. Let me see what your assignments say right now. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and assign. And the reason I did that is I knew some of y'all would go out ahead and you'd be doing the quadratic formula and the reverse FOIL. And I told you not to do that. So that's why I went ahead and just didn't assign the homework, because I knew some of y'all would go ahead of me. So that's why I didn't do that. And change dates. And let's go with chapter 3. And do that do jigger and that do jigger. 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, and 4.1 you might be able to start on. Let me see if 4.1 is what I think it is. And today is, I'm going to do assigned, and today is the 23rd. And I don't like to start things except at 8 o'clock and midnight, so I'm going to put 8 o'clock. And I'm going to leave it open for a couple of days, which most of y'all will take advantage of that. There's going to be 5 or 6 of y'all. It's not going to do it. And now let's go to 4.1, and let me see if they're going to put what I think they're going to put in 4.1. Assignments 4.1. Waiting. 4.1 is right here. And we're waiting. And we'll continue to wait. Yeah. Okay, remember your parent graphs? That's not really one I wanted. I wanted a quadratic, but they're doing, let's find a quadratic. Come on, there we go. Somebody tell me what this is showing you. Somebody tell me what that says. Just put an f of x in there in front of the y. What does it say? It says f of x is equal to x plus 6 quantity squared plus 3. Now somebody tell me what that says. Take everything you've learned and what I've taught you the last 3 or 4 days. What does it say? This is intercept form. What is this?
-6, -3.
-6, and you just bring this down. Remember, when it's in that other form, you take the opposite of both. That's your vertex. So you draw, this is 1, this is a positive 1, so that means you got a regular parabola going up, and the vertex is -6 and positive 3. It's opening upwards, so you know it doesn't have x-intercepts. And that's what they're asking you to do in 4.1, which you should see this as intercept form. Now, if you wanted it in the other form, it would be x plus 6 quantity squared is equal to -3. And then you would say -6 and positive 3. You would do the opposite of both. This comes from completing the square. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. 4.1 is just the end of completing the square. This is what you get when you complete the square. See here? See if I can find it. Right here, this last one we did. There it is. F of x is equal to x plus 2 quantity squared minus 0. That's the same thing as that. Now, did I give you all the parent graphs? Didn't I give you all the parent graphs? Yes or no? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Didn't I give you all the parent graphs? There's 8 graphs. X cubed, x to the 4th, x to the 5th. All right. What about that first one right there? What about this first one? Well, there's absolute value, absolute vodka. I told you vodka and value start with a V. So absolute value looks like this on your parent graph. This one says y is equal to x minus 1 plus 6. So somebody tell me what this says right here. horizontal shift, 1 to the what? 1 to the right. And a vertical shift of what? 6 up, Hubert. That's right, class. It's in the same form if we had completed the square. Except it's an absolute value. This is 1. So instead of a regular absolute value function, what are we going to do? 1 to the what? Right? And 6 what? Up. And that is our new vertex. And that is a vertical and horizontal shift. Hopefully y'all are putting it together. Let's do the cube. I'll just make one up. F of x is equal to x minus 3 quantity cubed plus 2. Well, the cube in your parent graph looks like this. So what does this mean right here? And what does this mean? The orange 3 is 3 to the what?
Left.
3 to the right. It's always the opposite. Remember I told you. It's always the opposite. Y'all not putting 2 and 2 together. And what about the up 2? So we're going to go 3 to the right and up 2. And there's our new vertex, which is the center. And that means that we're going to draw our function there. So you got a horizontal shift of 3 to the right and a vertical shift of 2 up. And you're transferring this point right here, the middle of the function, to right there. And that's what 4.1 does. I'm not really worried about 3.4 because I really don't test y'all a lot on that, but we will work on it. But right now, you are responsible for 3.1 through 3.3. Let's look at one. Let's see, what time is it? It's 10. I got a few more minutes. Let's look at, I'll just pick one out of each one. So let me go back to assignments, and I'll pick one kind of like in the middle. 3.1.
Hubert, I totally
Yes.
forgot that I have class in 10 minutes. And
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask you. I may have asked you this before. Why aren't you attending class with me nearer to where you have class?
I couldn't tell you the answer.
That's all right.
There's
You
no,
go ahead.
There's no good excuse.
That's all right. Go ahead. I just want to give you a hard
it.
time. All right. I'm going to pick number 10. And, okay, that's a decimal, so you would do that with the quadratic formula. Wait a minute. Oh, you could do it with your calculator. I'll show you how to do it with your calculator. I do it with the calculator. So I'm going to take the calculator and I'm going to plug that in. As soon as I get it, hold on a minute. Oh, me. There. All right, I'm going to plug in y is equal to negative 0.2x squared, 0.2, delete, x squared, minus 32x minus the delete, and then plus 3, and then graphic. And you might have to zoom out a little bit or zoom 0 for fit. And you might have to zoom out a little bit still because it looks like it's a curve. So you're going to have to zoom out. I don't know where it's going, so I'm just going to zoom out. There it is. Zoom out again. Go over this way a little bit. Go up a little bit. And there it is. And now you can do second trace. And you can find whatever you want. I'm going to find the maximum. That's the vertex. And give it a left-hand side. Give it a right-hand side. Well, I didn't do it the way I needed to. Let me just, I messed up. I suck. I bet it won't even do it. If the damn thing would quit moving, sorry. Okay, just let me do it again. Oh, God. Okay, hit second trace and go down. Since it's upside down, you want the maximum. Put the left-hand side. Don't hold down the button because it goes freaking crazy. Hit enter, and then the right-hand side, and this narrows it down. It tells the computer where to look for the vertex. And then give it a guess. And there's the vertex. Hit enter, and the vertex is negative 80 and 1283. And you can find the x-intercepts that way also. But I'm going to have to stop because some of y'all are going to start convulsing. So let me go ahead and stop. And y'all are responsible. Start sending questions because I'm giving you homework. So that means you need to start sending questions. If I don't get questions Tuesday, what am I going to assume?
That we understand it.
And I'm going to go to 3.5 and 3.4. And I'm going to keep on moving. So let me go ahead and get the roll. And hopefully they haven't kicked me out. Let me stop the recording.